All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we are unpacking a massive, literally paradigm-shifting pivot from OpenAI. Think about it. For nearly 2 decades, our daily lives have been totally dictated by glowing rectangles in our pockets. But what if the next major leap in technology doesn't even have a screen? We are looking at a multi-billion-dollar bet to fundamentally reset how we interact with the digital world, right before this current era calcifies for good.
We'll kick things off with a pretty provocative thought from OpenAI CEO Sam Altman. He correctly points out that we've essentially used computers the exact same way for 50 years. From the invention of Windows and mice back at Xerox PARC to the multi-touch glass of your iPhone, the basic concept hasn't really changed. But now, we're taking this revolutionary conversational AI and we're just stuffing it into those exact same attention-demanding boxes. Altman is asking a really simple but profound question. Why?
And the answer to that question comes with a jaw-dropping price tag, $6.5 billion. That is how much OpenAI paid to acquire Jony Ive's hardware startup, IO, to build a brand new interface for our lives. This isn't some little side project, folks. We're talking about an all-stock mega deal entirely focused on rewriting the default physical object we interact with every single day.
So to really understand how this tech is going to completely redesign our reality, we're going to follow a quick roadmap. We'll look at the $6 billion bet, the death of the screen, solving AI's money problem, what it means for you, which is super important, and finally, the potholes on the road ahead.
Okay, part 1, the $6 billion bet, acquiring the architect of the iPhone. You really have to look at the sheer concentration of ex-Apple talent OpenAI just bought here. It's basically an Avengers-level team. They scooped up IO, a stealth startup founded in 2023 by the legendary Jony Ive. It's a tight-knit crew of about 55 employees, but it includes absolute heavy hitters like Tang Tan. He was the iPhone VP of Product Design, and Evans Hankey, the designer who actually took over for Ive at Apple. And the crazy part? They've been operating under total secrecy. No leaks, zero renders, just a singular, intense focus on what comes next.
The crucial takeaway here is the massive strategic shift. OpenAI is pivoting hard from being just an app living on someone else's operating system to becoming a fully vertically integrated consumer platform. See, they realize that if they stay as just the brain behind the glass, they're completely at the mercy of giants like Apple and Google. To really innovate, they have to design the glass itself. Or actually, maybe eliminate the glass altogether.
Which brings us to part 2, death of the screen, moving from apps to ambient presence.
Think about our current era. It relies totally on a grid of apps visually demanding your attention. We absolutely all know the feeling, right? You open your phone just to check the weather, and you look up 30 minutes later emerging from a total doom scroll. But the AI era they're designing, it's virtually screenless. It shifts everything from touching glass to voice and ambient sensing. It transforms your device from a slot machine competing for your attention into an intelligent, continuous companion.
To really wrap our heads around this, we need to talk about ambient computing. This is basically the holy grail of hardware design right now. It means technology that is unobtrusive and deeply context-aware. It seamlessly blends into your environment without ever making you stare at a display. It's tech that feels invisible, quietly working in the background for you, instead of demanding your constant, unbroken focus.
So what does this actually look like in the real world? Well, reports indicate we're talking about something pocket-sized and entirely screen-free. And interestingly, despite Jony Ive's famous design background, this is not a wearable. It's not a pin you attach to your shirt or smart glasses. Instead, it's designed to be a third core device, something that just sits quietly on your desk, right next to your laptop and your phone. It's going to run OpenAI's GPT models natively, meaning it understands your real-time context and habits instantly without needing to bounce every single request up to a cloud server. Moving on to part 3, solving AI's money problem. Let's dig into why hardware is an absolute business necessity here. You see, the underlying economics of this massive AI boom practically force this pivot. The industry is burning through ridiculous amounts of cash just for computing power, so they desperately need to diversify their revenue with hardware. Plus, right now, they're entirely dependent on Apple and Google for distribution. To fix that, they need total control over their own operating system. And finally, there's the whole issue of direct-to-consumer monetization. Sam Altman has actually gone on record saying that solving this issue with a new family of products could literally boost OpenAI's valuation by $1 trillion. $1 trillion! Supply chain analyst Ming-Chi Kuo really hit the nail on the head regarding why this pivot is so necessary. He points out that if you want to deliver a comprehensive, real-time AI agent service, you just cannot be an app. You absolutely must control the operating system and the hardware. A dedicated pocket companion is pretty much the only way to capture a user's full, real-time state, and that is exactly the data an AI needs to actually be useful to you.
Okay, so what does all this actually mean for you, the everyday person? Let's jump into part 4, what it means for you, and imagine a day in a post-screen life.
Just imagine your day with this tech. First, it's about intention over touch. Instead of opening 5 different apps to coordinate a dinner, you just speak your intention out loud while walking the dog. Second, autonomous action. While you're cooking dinner and your hands are covered in flour, your agent is quietly booking the table and texting your friends in the background. And third, reclaiming your agency. You've just handled your entire social life for the evening without ever once getting sucked into a screen. It's a total game changer.
The absolute biggest takeaway here is this shift toward quiet tech. After years of designing devices specifically meant to fragment our attention, it seems like Jony Ive is trying to undo some of that digital seduction. Seriously, the most disruptive piece of technology in the next 10 years might just be the one that finally stops fighting for your visual attention and just lets you live your life.
But of course, it's not all smooth sailing. Part 5, potholes on the road ahead, because building the future is notoriously hard. Rewriting the default computing interface of humanity? Yeah, that's a marathon. Look at the timeline. We just had the massive $6.5 billion acquisition in May 2025. Supply chain experts are whispering that 2026 is the absolute earliest possible launch window for a new device, with 2027 being the more realistic target for a full consumer rollout. And it probably won't be until 2028 that we see the mass production of a fully realized AI smartphone ecosystem.
And they have to navigate some terrifying roadblocks to get there. First up, friction versus control. If there is no screen, how do you verify your agent actually emailed the right person? Second, debugging a black box. Think about it. If an invisible ambient agent hallucinates and books you a flight to the wrong city, how do you even begin to troubleshoot that? Then there's manufacturing scale. OpenAI is reportedly talking to giants like Foxconn, but trying to match Apple's level of supply chain perfection, that is a monumental task. And finally, narrative buy-in. The iPhone worked because it was a magical, compelling story. OpenAI has to somehow convince a global population completely addicted to their screens to just look up and let go.
So I'll leave you with this final provocative thought, as we stand right on the brink of redesigning reality, handing our daily tasks over to invisible, ambient AI agents. Will this technology actually allow us to reclaim our attention and be more present in the real world? Or are we just going to lose control in a whole new screenless way? It's a fascinating shift for sure, and it's one we are going to be watching very, very closely. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and remember to keep your eyes and your ears open to the future.